all of the time. Hey, Facebook peeps and YouTube peeps, my Stop the Menopause Madness Summit community on Facebook. If you're not on it and you're on Instagram, make sure to join it on Facebook. So the question today that you guys asked was, how do I know where my hormones are when my doctor won't check them? How many of you can identify with this? Post in the chat for me and let me know who's heard this from their doctor. We don't check women's hormones. There's no standard of levels for women's hormones. Everybody's different. So there's no point in checking it. How many of you have heard this from your doctor? So yesterday on Instagram, I posted a little quiz. How many of you have heard this? 75% of people who answered the quiz said that their doctor had told them, right, Jen? Their doctor had told them, we don't check women's hormones. Now, like I told you yesterday, I'm the kind of doctor who's going to tell you, I educate you on what you need to know about your own health and let you make your own educated decision, because I know that you are intelligent, beautiful women. And so does that make sense to you? Because when you look at what we check in medicine, is there much that we don't check? You come in, we make you get naked on the scale and check your weight. We check your blood pressure, your temperature. We check your height. We check your cholesterol, your potassium, your sodium. We do pap smears and mammograms. Seems like we check just about everything, y'all, doesn't it? Right. So where would it make sense to any human who's been in the American medical system that we don't check women's hormones? That is insane. And it's just flat out wrong. Yes, we do check women's hormones. Yes, we do have standard evaluation levels. We know where they should be. There isn't that much variation from one woman to the next. So it is a thing and we do it. But guess what? We're not trained in that in OBGYN residency, and we are the ones who are supposed to know about women's hormones. So in the training program for the doctors who are in charge of women's health, nada training about checking women's hormones, right? So, why is this? You might be scratching your head going, that doesn't make any sense. Why would that be? So this is the analogy I like to give. So say you take your car is making a funky noise coming from underneath your car. You look up under there, you don't see anything that's happening, but you're not a mechanic. And you take it to the dealer and you say, hey, can you check out my car? It's making this noise. And they drive it around and they go, yep, it's making a noise. It's coming from underneath. We got some duct tape. We're going to wrap that duct tape round under the car. They wrap some duct tape and it stops making that noise. They tell you, ma'am, you're all set. You're good to go. The noise is gone. Go on your way. And you're like, yes, the noise is gone. And you drive off that out of the automotive repair shop. Now, let me ask you, the car is no longer making the noise, but wouldn't you be wondering, why was it making the noise in the first place? They never told me why it was making the noise. I know the noise is gone, but I'm kind of concerned. What if it's my brake shaft that was loose and clanking and making noise and they didn't fix it and my brakes could fail? So you might be a little concerned, right? Would you guys be a little concerned? Yeah, give me a yeah. Let me know in the chat. Would you be concerned if the automotive repair, the mechanic guy, duct taped the underside of your car to stop it from making noise and sent you on your way? Yes, you would be, right? You would be a little concerned. Well, the same thing is what's happening with women and their hormones when they go to the doctor, right? We are given duct tape equals birth control pills, progestin IUDs, implants, Depo-Provera shots. We are given duct tape to stop our symptoms, and nobody's checking our hormone levels to see what's causing them. A good mechanic gets up under your car, goes down in that well, those wells in the mechanic shop, and they look up under your car and they see what's clinking, what's loose. Is your brake shaft loose? Like what? I don't know about cars, but I know the brakes, there's something that goes from front to back that has to do with brakes. They see why you're having noise coming from under your car, right? And then they tell you, this is why your car is making noise. This is what we need to do to fix it. Here's parts and labor. And you go, yeah, I need my brake shaft fixed. And you pay them and they fix it. And then you leave feeling safe and secure. Not just because the noise is gone and someone put some duct tape up under your car, but because you know the problem has been identified and corrected, right? Are you with me? Who wants to have their mechanic identify the cause of the problem and fix the cause of the problem? I do. Do you guys? Well, it's the same thing with your hormone problems, whether it's heavy, painful, irregular periods, or you're having hot flashes and night sweats, or you can't fall asleep, or you can't stay asleep, or maybe you've got these mystery rashes that you don't think have anything to do with hormones, but probably do, or you get migraine headaches, or maybe you have irritability or even anxiety or depression and you're on medications and nobody's telling you that this has anything to do with your hormones, but they do. Or maybe you've got horrible irritable bowel or gastrointestinal disturbance and nobody's talking to you about the fact that that could have something to do with your hormones because nobody's checking your hormone levels. And so you don't think it has anything to do with your hormones, but it does. And so you go to the doctor and what do? Put duct tape. They duct tape your hormones with symptom management. If they even think about the problem that you have has anything to do with your female hormones, they're going to give you something to shut your female hormones off. Birth control pills, depot shots, implants, progestin IUDs. They just shut down the whole system. That's duct taping it. And you don't have symptoms because your whole female hormone system is shut down. Nobody tells you that that is going to increase your risk for health problems later in life. Bone thinning, osteoporosis, breast cancer, if you're on the birth control or hormonal contraception for over 10 years, and that you don't have your body's own natural hormones because somebody shut the system down with duct tape. Nobody talks to you about the fact that your labia are going to start fusing and that your clitoris is going to start shrinking because it doesn't have healthy hormonal stimulation. And then you're going to start to have a problem achieving an orgasm, right? And having a healthy sex drive. Nobody talks to you about this, right? Because they don't even know. They're just like, slap the duct tape on and send you on your way. Symptom fixed, problem solved. And you're leaving the mechanic's office or your doctor's office going, at least you would leave the mechanic's place if you had duct tape and you would know that was wrong. But the problem is you're trained to believe that your doctor is doing best for you. And I don't want to throw doctors on the bus because I am one and I practiced this way for many years and we do help a lot of people. But you could be helped more by having your hormone levels checked and knowing the reason why you're having the symptoms that you're having. So hopefully this makes sense and hopefully this answers your question. I can't remember if I think we're at question number 3. Oh, and I meant to put it up here. Let me put it up here on my Facebook. It was, how do I know where my hormones are when my doctor won't check them? And you've got to know, like, if you don't know where you are, how can you get anywhere? Can anyone get it? Like the GPS in your car uses a satellite to beam down and it knows where you are. And then you program in where you want to go. Say, I want to go to the Starbucks, right? So I have to put in the Starbucks address and the satellite beams down and it knows where that Starbucks is and it knows where I am. And then it tells me the directions to get to my destination, where I want to go. So if you want to go to hormonal equanimity, let's say, you want to go to hormonal balance, that is a place where your hormones are balanced, where you sleep great and you have a great sex drive and you're a healthy weight because you lose weight effortlessly and you have a great even mood. You're not irritable or anxious or depressed. Your skin looks bright and clear, right? Your whole health and vitality. That is a place. And right now you're at this place and you're thinking, I don't even know how to get over there. I haven't been over there in so long. Nobody's helping me get over there. They're just giving me duct taping everything. And so to get to that place, what do you have to do first? You have to know where you are starting, your starting place. And that means assessing. It means the mechanic getting up under your car and looking at everything. And then they have these little computer things they hook your car up to that run error codes through the system and tell them like it's a F7D6. And then they look at their manual and they go, okay, Volkswagen F7D6, that means such and such and so and so. So they run their diagnostics, right? That means when you go to the doctor, they should be checking your hormone levels to see where you are. And then once they know where you are, they can say, this is where you want to go, the state of hormonal balance. And then this is how we're going to get there. If you don't know where you're starting, you don't know what your hormone levels are, it is impossible to get to hormonal balance, hormonal equanimity, optimal health, optimal weight, optimal sleep. You can't get there. It's like trying to throw a dart at a bullseye with a blindfold. You're like, and it's over on the wall and it's over on the wall and you can't get it to the right place. And this is what women are left to do, like looking on Instagram and Facebook for answers to their hormone questions because everybody's giving them duct tape. So I know this is a bit of a rant because it gets me so upset. You know, if you saw the Stop the Menopause Madness Summit, there were several of us OBGYNs in there talking about this. And, you know, we had private conversations before and after the interviews about how, and you know, some doctors are loath to say this once they get woke and they realize the truth of what women really need and what's available for us. And they don't want to insult other doctors, but I say the truth, and the truth is that a lot of us are hurting women because we're not giving you the tools that you need. So let's look and see at what some of the questions. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Lucy. And Tammy said they will not check my adrenals or check my cortisol. Right? That's not even a thing in medicine. So let's not even start. Okay, women's hormones is one thing, and that's insanity that we won't check the levels. Just insanity. And there are very valid tests that we use. The Dutch is my favorite. It's really the state of the art. But the salivary cortisol, that's not even a thing in medicine, right? It's not even discussed. So who here has heard about salivary cortisol testing, asked their doctor to do it for them, and they've been told no? Post it in the comments. Post it in the comments. Oh, Lucy wants my glasses. Thank you. And Barbara says yes. And let's see. Pearl says, what is the range of hormone levels we know we're healthy and what we should be concerned about? So first off, Pearl, you got to have the right test. And so what is the right test? Let's talk a little bit about that because that's a great question. So there are a lot of things in mainstream medicine we just draw blood for and check them. And for a lot of things, that's appropriate. But for sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone and testosterone, blood is not appropriate. Why is this? So in order to understand why, you need to understand what these hormones are. So they are made from cholesterol. What is cholesterol? Where does it come from? It comes from animal fat, right? It is fat. So fat is oil. Oil is fat, right? And you do oil and water mix? No, they don't. So these hormones are oil. Your blood is water. So the idea that you are going to sample some blood of water and see how much oil in it is crazy, because what happens when you mix oil and water together, say it's in a measuring cup? The water rises to the top because it's lighter, and the oil falls to the bottom, and they separate immediately. Well, that's what happens with these hormones in your blood. They aren't just floating around, swimming like you're in the ocean at the beach on July 4th. They are carried around in protein carriers, which I call FedEx trucks. Okay. So they're carried around in FedEx trucks because they have to have something protective to hold them in solution in the water to get them from one place to another. And then the FedEx truck drives through the blood vessels and throws the packages, which are your hormones, into the cells, and they're immediately taken up by the cells. The cells are coated in fat, so your hormones love the cells. So they don't like the water. So you can tell how many FedEx trucks you have, but the problem is that the packages are thrown so quickly into the cells that it's almost impossible to get an accurate measurement of how many of these packages are going from the FedEx truck to the cells. We call that the free fraction. And it's notoriously inaccurate, particularly if women are already on hormone replacement or any type of hormones. So blood, no bueno, it's water. These hormones are oil. Next is saliva. Cortisol is tested very accurately in saliva. And saliva can be a good first measurement for the sex hormones if someone's not on sex hormones already. But if someone's on sex hormones already, the problem is that the salivary glands actually concentrate progesterone, which is one of the hormones that women will be supplied with. So if someone's taking progesterone, whether it's oral or particularly transdermal on their skin, and you check saliva tests, what happens is it comes out like 10,000, which would be oftentimes 100 plus magnification of the true levels. So it's inaccurate for monitoring people. And so really the best option to check hormones is something called the Dutch test by Precision Analytical. It's dried urine, what does it stand for? Dried urine test, DUTCH. I forget what exactly the acronym is, but it's dried urine metabolites of all the hormones. And so your body, after it uses these hormones and before it uses, pees out metabolites as it metabolizes these hormones. And you can collect those metabolites on little filter paper strips and dry it and process it. And then you can take that information and then you know how much of the estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are circulating in the system. So this is the most accurate test that we have to monitor women on hormones and also to find out where they are and see if they need hormones. It's very clear on where the level should be for optimal health. And it tells you not only where your levels are, but how you are detoxifying these hormones, because everything your body makes, it has to get rid of. And if it doesn't get rid of it properly, it can become a toxin. So sure, we're used to talking about toxicity like it comes from outside your body, but some of it comes from inside, stuff you're making, but you don't get rid of it, particularly estrogen. So if you're making estrogen, but you don't get rid of it, like if you're not pooping every day, which is one of the main reasons you don't get rid of estrogen, and your levels are building up, well, the Dutch test is the only hormone test that tells you how well you're getting rid of your estrogen. And if you're not, if you're increasing your risk for breast cancer and other health problems. So it really is. Yeah, Kim says peepers. Peepers! These are like my favorites. So Lonnie says, does this apply to women who've had a hysterectomy? So if you've had a hysterectomy, you've just had your womb removed, you still need sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. It's a misnomer that sex hormones are just about your uterus and reproduction. You actually have more of these sex hormone receptors in your brain and central nervous system than you do anywhere else, which tells you what? They're not just about sex and reproduction. They're about your nervous system, your brain function, your mood, your cognition, your memory. They're in your skin. It's about your skin being healthy. It's about not having rashes, not having sagging and wrinkling. It's about having healthy, vibrant skin. You have receptors in your eyes for these hormones. Excuse me. So it's about having healthy, vital eyesight. You know, I recently did a podcast interview with Dr. Ronnie Bonnick. Some of you saw her on the summit. And, you know, I did some research before the podcast. Her episode will be coming out in a few weeks. And if you haven't seen it, it's her Brilliant Health Revolution podcast on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. So anyway, Ronnie talked about, I was doing the research and finding that like blindness is 60% of people who are blind, 60 to 70% in the world are women. We disproportionately represent people with blindness. Well, what's the only difference with men and women? Our sex hormones. So what does it have to do with our sex hormones? So we were talking about that, the receptors in the eyes. You got them in your gastrointestinal tract. Gut problems higher in women. Well, it has to do with hormones. So these hormonal imbalances that we endure throughout our life cycle, when we're fertile, when we're in perimenopause, when we're in menopause, are what cause our disproportionate level of all of our health problems. So it doesn't matter if you've had a hysterectomy or not, you still need sex hormones. So I hope you're hearing that. Kim says every woman should get a Dutch test as part of their annual physical. Unbelievable that it's not included, right, Kim? Every woman needs this test annually. You just do. You need it when you're young, you need it when you're middle, you need it when you're old, you need it always. It should be, in my opinion, part of the annual screening blood work and lab testing and evaluation for women. It's something I do for myself. All my clients who work with me in my group programs and in my one-on-one programs get it annually. No insurance doesn't cover it, because I know that's everybody's first question, but it is worth the investment. And this gets to your question that I'm going to answer tomorrow, which was, how do I do this without spending a lot of money, and why is it so expensive? So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And this gets into that, really how you view expenses that you make on your healthcare, and really what is expensive, and some tips on how to do this less expensively. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. So thank you, Kim. Lisa says, can you speak to the experience of women whose doctors say that their hormones are in normal range, but they feel out of balance, so their doc recommends SSRIs instead? Yes, Lisa. Thank you for posting that. This is huge. Huge. Thank you so much. So doctors, we're not trained in checking hormone levels. We already talked about that earlier, right? It is not on the curriculum in OBGYN residency, unfortunately. So I had to learn the hard way by having my own health in the toilet and suffering. And then I had to find a better way and learn about hormone checking and balancing, right? So these poor doctors, some of them try, and they'll say, like you guys answered the quiz yesterday, 75% said they were told, no, we don't check women's hormones. So 25% were told we check them. But the next problem is that you get your levels checked like you did, Lisa, and then your doctor tells you they're normal. They're normal. You're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Let me give you an SSRI for depression because you must be depressed, which I just think is patronizing and obnoxious and makes me infuriated. So I'm sorry that happened to you. But this is the truth, that they don't know how to read them. That's why they're looking at what the lab says. They're doing a blood test. And then they're looking at what the lab says is normal, which is a ginormous range. And I love this example because this happens with thyroid too. I can't tell you, say 80% of the women who come to me and say, oh my gosh, my health is a wreck, my weight, my energy, like nothing's right. They say, oh, my doctor checked my thyroid, it's fine, right? They say that with confidence because I felt the same way when I had checked my thyroid at least 10 times and it was normal, right? I was like, oh no, my thyroid's good. So y'all tell me, oh, my thyroid's good. And I go, not so. So how are those normal lab values determined, right? So they're determined by what 95% of the population has. So you all know that 95% of the population is not optimally healthy. I mean, 60% of us in America are overweight or obese. So are we optimally healthy? No, right? So they're taking thyroid results from 60%, all those people, and they're saying, okay, we're going to take the middle 95%, and that is what we're going to call normal. That's what we're going to call normal. So you're being compared to all these unhealthy people, and you're being told your hormone levels are normal. This is why hypothyroid is misdiagnosed in 80% of women. And this is why you're told that your sex hormones are normal, because they don't know how to read them. They don't know what normal means and reference range on the lab values. And they don't understand that they're comparing you to not optimally healthy people. So with root cause resolution medicine, we don't compare you to what everyone else has who's unhealthy. We compare you to what you should have for an optimally healthy woman. And there's no reason that you shouldn't be as optimally healthy at 20 as you were there's no reason you can't be as optimally healthy now as you were at 20 is what I meant to say. So that's why. So it's because they don't understand. And again, I don't want to throw doctors on the bus. I am one, and we are all doing the best we can with what we were taught. That's what I did for years. But like Oprah says, when you know better, you do better. So now I know better because of my painful journey. I had to go through all that pain. And now that's why I do what I do, because I want you to know better, because you deserve better. And so this is why I teach, doctor means teacher. So I teach and I do programs with women to educate them and offer this type of Dutch testing, salivary cortisol testing, so I can teach you how to read your own labs, right, Kim? Read your own labs. That's what I teach women in my programs. So you don't even need the doctor, and you're not subject to the doctor going, oh, it's normal. You can look at it and go, yeah, no, it's not, because Dr. Kieran taught me how to read it, and you can know what you need to get where you need to be. So this idea that women must just be depressed, and I'm going to give you an SSRI, so wrong. It's just so wrong on so many levels. And I can't even begin. Well, we've begun to discuss it, but just say no and get yourself somebody who can help you more effectively. Lisa says, totally. All right. Pearl says also, what is a range of hormone levels we know we're healthy and what we should be concerned about? So that's what we've been talking about, Pearl, is you got to get the optimal levels. Vita says, can you speak about mild breast development in 13-year-old boy? Our doctor isn't concerned. Yeah, I mean, it's a little off what we're covering, but just to address it, in a 13-year-old boy, the first thing is he obese? Because obesity in men will cause breast development. And then you can find someone who will check his sex hormone levels, like his estrogen level, because breasts are an estrogen activity when you are in puberty. So if he's getting breasts, I would look at his estrogen. All right, let's see what else we've got here. So Jen says, I was told you are postmenopause, so we know they are low. We don't need to test them. Ah! That makes me so angry. It makes me so angry, because essentially what they're saying is, we know you're in a hormone deprived state, because menopause is a state of hormonal deprivation, y'all. Hormonal deprivation. Your cells are crying out for their hormones that nourish them and help them be healthy. And this doctor's telling you you're in menopause. We know they're low. We don't need to test them. It's like telling you, I know you don't have your sex hormones that make all your cells happy, and I know you feel like crap, and I know, but I really can't help you. And, I wouldn't take it personally, because again, they're just doing what they were trained, and they don't know what they don't know. That is literally what we are taught, y'all, which is wrong. And I'm on a mission to change it. And I'm starting with teaching you guys, because each woman I teach is going to teach all the women she knows. She's going to teach her coworkers. She's going to teach the women in her family. She's going to teach her friends. And then they're going to teach, and so on and so on. Remember that commercial? I think there was a shampoo back in the 70s called Herbal Essences. And the commercial was like, and tell one friend, and they'll tell two friends, and they'll tell two friends, and so on and so on and so on. All right. And it's like that. So that is so wrong. So it's like, it speaks to really our cultural opinion that women in an older age range are not useful. And it speaks to how we are treated culturally and the attitude towards older women. But the truth is that the Dalai Lama said, the Western woman is the one who's going to save the world. And it's Western menopausal women, y'all. Hello, are you with me? Because we have the experience and the wisdom and the knowledge and the groundedness to understand the love and tenderness and care that we need to bring to the world's Earth's problems at this time in our Earth's evolution. And we're going to save the world. But we need to have hormones to do it. Because if we don't have our sex hormones and we're in a state of hormonal deprivation, we feel like crap. We can't sleep. We just don't feel good. Our guts don't function normally. We have mood disturbances, memory problems. So I really think this is the evolution of the next edges for us to get our hormones right so we can get about the business of living our passion and bringing our passion to solve the ills of the earth. Thank you for sharing this, Jen. You do need hormones if you want to feel as good as you can feel. It's almost impossible to get us to a state of optimal vitality. I'm going to go so far as to say it is impossible to get to a state of optimal vitality for you, whether you're a man or a woman, if your hormones aren't balanced. We talked partly yesterday or the day before, so if you missed it in the lives, it's in the IGTV. It's also on Facebook about what is possible and why hormones are so crucial. They're the communicators in your body, and communication is everything. It is the most important task in any system, whether it's a school system or a governmental system, any type of system. If communication breaks down, everything else breaks down. So go watch that if you don't get why hormones are primo number one priority. Go watch those videos. So thank you for sharing that, Jen. And Flower Child says, my doc will never check my hormones. Why? So we've just talked about it. They're not trained in it. They don't understand it. They're not trained in it. I wasn't trained in it. I had to go back and do a fellowship training in metabolic, anti-aging, and functional medicine to get myself straight, to lose 100 pounds, to get healed from chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, depression, anxiety, all the stuff I had. So they're not trained in it. These are great, great questions. Thank you guys for asking them. And let's check over here in Facebook. Right. So Iris says, I had the Dutch test, then took the results to my GP, and she didn't really know what to do with it. She did her own regular tests, which all came back okay. But when I asked her what I could do for the OH4 pathway, that's the detox we talked about, which is too busy, and I'm not methylating properly the second detox pathway, she has no answers for me. Right, Iris? So this is the situation. You can go on the Dutch page and order your own Dutch test, but then what? Nobody can help you. So that's why, like in the Hormone Balance Mastermind, which thank you for answering my one survey question, all of you who did. If you didn't, you can still put your one hormone question. Go to midlifemetabolisminstitute.com/one thing, ONETHING. But this is why, and also let me know if you want to do the Hormone Balance Mastermind again in March. I've pretty much decided to do it, but I still really want to know what people are needing. So this is why I created that, because I needed a way to get women to have their own Dutch test. So everyone in that program gets their own Dutch test. And then we read them together, and I teach you how to read your own dang Dutch test. And I created a telehormone company where I have physicians who are licensed in every state in the United States, not Canada, y'all, not Australia, not Europe. So we can't service you yet, but hopefully in the future we'll have that maybe next year. But right now we got enough doing all the states in the United States. And then you have a consult with them. So if you need bioidentical hormones, they prescribe it for you and they mail it to your house. How super simple is that? Because I'm always thinking, like, what do women need to support them to have the results that I had? And I'm ever refining this because, you know, at first I just used to do one-on-one care in person, but then I'm like, people would reach out to me from other states and I'm like, okay, I can't work with them. So then I got licensed in other states and I started doing things virtually. And so I could work with people in 3 states. California, Texas, and Georgia. So I was doing that. And then the pandemic hit. So I stopped seeing people in person. I got licensed in more states. So I was licensed in 8 states at that point and doing everything virtually. But then people kept reaching out to me. I need your help. I need your help. And I said, well, I can't get licensed in all of these states. So what I did was I created these programs where I am an educator and coach, and you get these tests and I teach you how to read them. And then I created a telemedicine company. So we have doctors who are licensed in all these states who can consult with women and give them the hormones. But I teach you everything we're talking about, how to read your own Dutch, how to read your insulin, because it's not only about your sex hormones. I know you think it is, but it's not. And this is something you have to understand, because if you're ever going to achieve those heights of what's possible for you, you have to understand it's all your hormones. So we look at all of them, your cortisol, your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, your insulin, your thyroid, and we balance all of them. Plus, there are other things that you don't know about, that your doctor doesn't even know about, that you need to be doing to balance your nervous system. And if you don't, again, you'll never get here. You'll never get to that great weight, that vital energy where you're like, oh, I could do whatever I want because I feel so good. You'll just never get there. So Iris, exactly. I even had a couple of people who had done the Dutch themselves because they heard about it, reach out to me at the Hormone Balance Mastermind when we launched it in January and say, I already did my Dutch. My doctor doesn't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. Can I join your program? Please. And so they joined the program. So Barbara says, I am so ready for a positive change. Yes. So, you know, the program, we are going to start it, but you got to get on the early bird wait list because we did sell out last time. We only have space for 20 women. And in January, the first time we ran it, we sold out very quickly. So if you are considering you want to be in it, you need to get on the early bird wait list because the people on that list are going to get notified a day before everybody else when it opens for enrollment. So if you want to possibly be considered for joining, you need to get on that list. And it's at midlifemetabolisminstitute.com/early-bird-waiting-list. It's midlifemetabolisminstitute.com/early-bird-waiting-list. Get on that list now. So yes, Barbara, you deserve a positive change. You know, in my opinion, menopause should be the best time of your life. Who wants menopause and midlife to be the best time of your life? Anybody? Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments. Do you want that? Or like, is this something I want for you that you don't even want? Because if that's the case, I don't want to waste your time. But if you're thinking, wow, I see some menopausal women like J-Lo, she's my girl crush. She is so on point in her 50s. I love J-Lo. Who loves J-Lo? Is it me? I just have a girl crush on her. She is so, look at her. She looks better than she looked when she was, you know, a dancer in her 20s and 30s. She is amazing. So that's what we all should be experiencing and living. I'm sorry, in our 50s and beyond. We just should. I can't wait to see what she's going to do in her 60s and 70s. I know she'd probably be doing the Super Bowl halftime show in her 60s and 70s. So yeah, you guys, Lonnie wants it. Iris wants it. Lisa wants it. Everybody wants it. But you got to have the tools. So the Hormone Balance Mastermind is where we start. And I tried to think of everything that you need to get you there from wherever you are. Again, right now in the US, I'm sorry, my Canadian friends, because I have so many people reach out to me from Canada. We'll come with for you next. My motto is no woman left behind. No woman left behind. So we're going to start with my US friends, and then we're going to get my Canadian friends, and then we're going to get my European and Australian friends. But it's it'll take us till the end of this year to get all my states in the US onboarded with the telemedicine consults. And that is a key piece of what you need. You need a doctor who can prescribe bioidentical hormones for you if you need them. So we'll come for you next. So Iris for sure, Lonnie for sure. No woman left behind. Yes, start telling your friends, no woman left behind. It's my goal to reach at least 1 million women in the next 3 years, which is an aspirational goal. But I know that with every woman I touch and teach, she will tell 3 friends and she'll tell 3 friends and so on and so on and so on, just like the herbal essences commercial from the 70s. And, it starts with one. So we're coming for you, Iris, in the UK. I am not aware of help yet, but, eventually we will get there. So Kim says, yes, ma'am. Oh, Iris says, love you, Dr. Kieran. Thank you so much, Iris. Iris says they are always damn normal, i.e. they can do nothing about the issues you're actually having. It's just because they're not trained in it. But thank you for sharing that, Iris. And all right, so I've answered those questions. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. If you guys have any other questions, let me know, because I am 10 minutes late for getting off because I was going to do 30 minutes. Sandra says, do you still give consultations? Would you be interested? So right now, the way to work with me one-on-one or in a group is through the Hormone Balance Mastermind. There is an option in there now to work with me one-on-one. And so that is how I work with people. Yeah, Dr. Christie says, J-Lo is so awesome. Isn't she? I just have such a crush on her. So that is the way to work with me one-on-one. I don't do one-off consultations because they don't help people. I did them for a while. And the problem is that that's like watering a plant one time. And have you ever, so I've started working with orchids. You can see my poor little orchid here. She's ending up her blooming season. So she's getting ready to drop her blooms. But if you ever grown plants, can you water them one time? And then they're good? No. This type of healing from the root cause requires consistent tending, just like with a plant. Health is a journey. It is not a destination. And there's no one thing I could tell you that you could be like, I'm good for life, and go on your way and reach the heights of what is possible for you and stay there in one consultation. It just doesn't happen. You need someone who can take you and guide you and teach you what you need to know and give you the strategy. So that's why I work with people in programs and groups. So there is that option in my program if you're interested. So thank you, beautiful ladies, for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for answering the One Thing Hormone Survey. Again, if you missed it, it's at midlifemetabolisminstitute.com/ONETHING, one thing. You can still submit the one hormone thing that you're needing right now. What are you needing help with? What are you needing support with around your hormones? And definitely get on the wait list for the Hormone Balance Mastermind, which is going to launch soon. And that's at midlifemetabolisminstitute.com/early-bird-waiting-list. And I will see you tomorrow because we're going to tackle your next question. I think we're up to number 4, and that has to do with the cost associated with this. Why is it expensive? How can I do this at low cost? There's some things you may not know about that I want to share with you. That's a really important question. So many of you asked it on the list of questions I have so far. We're well over 120 responses. So thank you for that. And we will tackle that tomorrow at 1 p.m. I will see you there. Thank you. Cute hair. And high cortisol. Iris, yes. Put that on the list. If you didn't do the questionnaire, I got a lot of questions about cortisol, but I'm doing them in the order of importance of what people ask. So Iris, go put that on the list. Thank you all for joining me. Mwah, mwah. Many blessings. I'll talk with you tomorrow. And